Over the last 4 years, I've made quite a few different coffee liqueurs, usually somewhere between 4 and 5 quarts a year. As you can see, I have a quart ball jar here that has the measurements on the side of giving you the 2 cup, 4 cup, 6 cup, and then if you go all the way up to the top, that is 8 cups. I believe that line is 7, and then in the throat is an 8. So it's nice for measurements, and they do well for sealing up and lasting for the anywhere from a month to 3 months that it takes to make a coffee liqueur. There's 4 basic ingredients to this. That is a vanilla bean. I get them from one of our spice shops. There is a cup of coffee grounds inside of my ball jar already. I'm switching this one up a little bit and going to use spiced rum versus vodka, which is what I normally do. And I'm going to use a cup of honey in it instead of using my simple syrups that I normally use, because I found that I kind of like the idea of just using straight honey in it and not diluting with the extra cup of water that comes in when I make the simple syrup. I've got several different recipes. Most of them end up using 4 cups of alcohol, such as vodka or rum, and then 4 cups of simple syrup. I found I like it a little bit stronger than what I get out of that. So the last few I've been making have been either 6 cups of vodka and a little bit of simple syrup, whereas in this case I'm going to use put up to the 4 cup mark on the jar with spiced rum. I will put a cup of honey in, and then I will fill the rest of the jar with spiced rum. So we'll see how this comes out. It's the first time I've used spiced rum. I've only done the honey one other time, and I did like the way it came out. I believe it may have been the jar that I'm currently drinking out of. As you can see in my glass there, I have the coffee liqueur, which is probably about 2/3 of the cup, and then the top third, or the top little bit there I put in more vodka to get myself a nice Black Russian. I'll try to record more as I go along. I'm going to get the coffee bean split and put in, and then get my rum up to the 4 cups and show you when I get there. I guess I should explain this first part since I just glanced at it before. So I take a knife and split the coffee bean down its center so that the internals of the vanilla, or not the coffee bean, the vanilla bean are nice and open and should be able to be absorbed into the alcohol fairly readily. I don't know how well you can see how that is split wide open and along there. I found this is one of the best ways to get the vanilla flavoring in there versus just taking vanilla extract and putting it in it. I do like the vanilla bean soaked in it a whole lot better. Alright, so I have the vanilla bean, I have a spiced rum up to the 4 cup level, and I have my cup of Mexicali coffee that I'm using in here. It has a little bit of a chocolate flavor to it versus a normal espresso bean that I use. So hopefully this should have a little more chocolate flavor to it than my normal coffee liqueur, along with the spiced rum. I'm hoping gives it a really nice flavor. I've been wanting to use the Mexicali since I started drinking it as my normal espresso blend. I found the darker blends, the ones that do well for an espresso, seem to do very well for making a coffee liqueur. I usually grind my beans at a very coarse level, so at the highest I can do in my grinder, so that it's easier to filter out the coffee grounds at the end, and versus trying to do them as a normal espresso grind. And I found the difference between the 2 grinds doesn't change the flavor much, but makes it much easier to deal with at the end. So once I have all my honey poured in, I fill it up to the very top, just below the top ring on my bowl jar with the rest of the spiced rum. I also use the spiced rum to clean out the honey jar to make sure I got out as much as possible. As you can see by both my spiced rum jar and my ball jar, There is frost appearing on it because I do keep my spiced rum in the freezer. I've went back and forth on this. I've done some of these with using the rum or using the vodka at room temperature, and using my frozen rum like I normally keep my rum, or not rum, vodka. And it really hasn't made much of a difference in the flavor. The one thing is that this is going to sit on a shelf for the next 30 days to 3 months. So I don't think that being cold when it starts is making that much of a difference to it. At this point, I will put the lid on and shake away for a few minutes before I put it on the shelf and let it sit. Alright, so now for the next week, I will shake this jar at least once a day to make sure it's nice and incorporated, and then after about a week or two, I will stop shaking it at all and just let it sit. There is a jar back behind there that has been sitting since Thanksgiving, so it's got 3-4 months on its life now. The stuff that's in here had about 3 months on it before I strained it through a coffee filter. So it does, the longer it can sit, the better it can clear out, and the better quality it comes out of it. But at about a month, it is ready to drink. So I figured this one, since I'm doing a little bit different with it, using the spiced rum to get a little different flavor from it, I'm going to try it in a month and see how it's doing, and then we'll see where I go from there. But I thought I'd give you an idea of how I actually make my coffee liqueurs. This is a little different than my normal way, and the fact that I'm using spiced rum. Normally it's vodka, and it's using my newer style of using honey versus using a simple syrup. So we'll see where it goes.